Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Voth from the 19th hole, and we've got the next tournament here, the Coastal Classic Tournament. This is going to be the rookie guide for this tournament, which starts on Monday, August 19th. So what we're basically going to do here is we're going to talk about the holes from the rookie's perspective. We're going to talk about club usage, ball usage, and elevation changes that you may see during this tournament. Our main goal here is to give you information to kind of put you on the correct guide, the correct path to play for this tournament. We're going to talk about different scenarios for each of these holes and different ways you can play these holes depending on what kind of a wind you do see on Monday. Because it's very important to know which way is the best way to play these holes depending on the wind angles that we get. So that's what we're going to do here today. I'm going to give you the information. Hopefully it's helpful to you, and hopefully it's something that will help spark that. That's right, I learned that there, and it's going to help you increase those scores for the actual tournament. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a second. I did want to quickly tell you about my website on Facebook. It's Golf Clash the 19th Hole. It's a community. It's created to help players improve their game and grow in the game. Definitely would love to see you check it out there. Once again, just go to your search bar and type in Golf Clash the 19th Hole. Also make sure to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up if you liked the video. And please leave me a comment if you feel like you have some suggestions on things I can do to improve the video as well. Would love to hear from you. So we're going to go ahead and get started here with the actual guide for the rookie in just one moment. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to start out with the first hole, which is going to be hole number 1. And hole number 1 starts out as a par 5. So we're going to start out with a par 5 right away here to kick things off, giving ourselves a good chance at the albatross for sure. So in the rookie division, which is played from the first tee, there's really only one way, in my opinion, to play this hole, and that's going to be to the left side. You'll be playing this shot with a plus 10% elevation change, and basically when I talk about elevation change, we're talking about either adding or subtracting from our wind total. So for example, let's just say we have 5 miles per hour wind for this first shot. Plus 10% will be an additional 10% of wind on top of what we already have. So 10% of 5 miles an hour would be 0.5 miles per hour. So we would play this first shot as if we were taking a shot with 5.5 miles per hour wind. That would be a plus 10% adjustment. So if we had plus 20%, we would just double that, and it would be, instead of 0.5, it would be 1 mile per hour increase. So that would be a 6 mile per hour wind adjustment. When we're talking about adding, we're going downhill. Downhill shots over water shots tend to add adjustment to our shots. If we're shooting a shot uphill, then we're actually going to take away. And there is a hole in this tournament where we actually will minus wind from our shot. So just remember, downhill, add adjustment, uphill, take away adjustment. So that's a quick elevation adjustment information there for you all. So first shot of this hole, I definitely would say, extra mile would be a great club to use if you have a quarterback that's a little bit higher in level. I would say at least 7 or so level-wise. Playing it to the left side is going to be a way to play it. Your first bounce is going to be right in this area right here over the rough. Your second bounce will be just on the other side of the rough, and you're really trying to get that shot to roll up here in this second fairway to the left-hand side. The farther you roll, the better you set yourself up for the second shot. But definitely be careful, with hitting the ball too far and using too much topspin, because going into that rough is definitely possible and something you don't want to do. I would suggest going with the ball like a Quasar or a Katana ball would definitely be 2 good choices. You could also use a Titan ball if you wanted to use a Titan ball. Playing that shot with the quarterback may require you to overpower the shot some, but I would not shy away from that club just because of having to overpower the shot. Do remember, quarterback's like 100% accuracy, so you can be a little bit off, great left, great right, and still be okay. I would play the shot with somewhere between 2 to 3 bars of topspin and 2 to 3 bars of left spin. When that ball does make that initial bounce, it is actually going to shoot itself a little bit to the right-hand side off that slope, so that left spin is kind of help normalize that hop and keep you more down the middle of the fairway. So for your second shot, you're going to want a wood club. The Viper is a great club to use for this hole. If you have a sniper that's a little bit higher level, the sniper definitely could be a club to use. If you don't have either of those clubs leveled, the Big Dog would be the club to use. Definitely want to make sure that you do get the eagle no matter what here. Second shot, play plus 10% for your elevation change. Your shot's going to be taken over the water to a landing spot right over here in this fairway. From here, you're going to use probably some backspin and right spin. I would say somewhere around 2 to 3 bars of backspin, max right spin, and you just kind of want to try to direct that ball guide to the hole the best you can. If you're not using the sniper, you are using the Viper or the Big Dog, do keep in mind that that ball guide is not going to be fully developed. So just because the ball guide doesn't show going all the way to the hole, don't think that doesn't mean the ball will roll to the hole. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have a fully developed ball guide, if you're using the sniper, you are going to have a really developed ball guide, so you will be able to see the track of that ball all the way to the hole. So a few things there to keep in mind when you are playing this shot. Also, do make sure to stay away from this right rough here on the drive. That's why I go with the left spin, to keep myself away from that rough. Anything in that rough or in the rough at the end of the fairway definitely would cause you some issues for trying to get that eagle on this hole. Alright, next hole we have here is hole number 2. And this one is a par 4. And this is a par 4 that's kind of a difficult par 4 to get the eagle on. But I'm going to try to give you some information that's going to give you the best possible chance to get the eagle. So starting from the tee box, we're going to play plus 10% for our elevation change. Now for our tee shot, I like the quarterback on this hole. The drive is very manageable, and the quarterback is a very accurate club. You can also use the extra mile if you want as well. Ball-wise, I would recommend the Titan ball. We're not using the Titan ball for the tee shot. We're using the Titan ball for the second shot. So with the quarterback, you're aiming your shot into this area right before that bunker. 1 to 2 bars of topspin, max right spin is what you want to play here. That's going to put you up this fairway into this section right here. If you go with too much topspin, then you have the great possibility of rolling through that fairway and into that rough. Something that, trust me, you do not want to do, because that will definitely probably make life very difficult for you on this hole, and you may possibly be looking at a par if you do that. So definitely another reason why I like the quarterback is its accuracy for this drive. It kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room to be great left or great right, as long as you have it set up correctly, and still be okay. If you miss great left or great right with the extra mile, very poor accuracy on that club at lower levels, and that probably means disaster. So definitely, that's why I suggest the quarterback for that hole. Second shot, plus 10% for your second shot, and you're going to be looking at probably the Viper, the Sniper, or the Big Dog. Once again, you'll be playing your second shot up this fairway, and you have a couple options. You can either try to go for a more direct path over this bunker, which is a little bit more dangerous, but could have a payoff in the end. Or you can play the shot around the left edge of that bunker with right spin and backspin. The amount of backspin you will use will depend on the wind angle. If you have a tailwind, you're going to use something like 3 bars of backspin. Side wind, not as much backspin, and if you have some sort of a headwind, which I doubt we'll have in the rookie, you'll use even less backspin. I'm going to guess we're going to get some sort of an angled tailwind for this shot, maybe a left to right. That would be a perfect case scenario. But basically, what you want to do is you want your ball to come in, and then with that backspin and right spin, you'll hit here and hopefully have some sort of a trail towards the hole that way. Once again, Viper's going to give you a decent ball guide, but not quite as developed as the Sniper would on that shot. If you have any kind of concerns about getting your second shot there, that's when you go to the Big Dog and just make sure you get the ball there 100%, get that birdie. Definitely possible eagle, but most likely birdie on this hole would be my guess. There is one other way that you could possibly play this hole. I don't really see the benefit to playing the hole any other way in the rookie, but you can play a drive to this right side where you would bounce over these bunkers here and try to roll up this fairway. From there, it's going to be a little more difficult of a second shot, where you either have to bounce off this little island fairway, or if you have a good wind, you can fly in the air over everything and land right here. From that point right there, you're just going to be using a lot of backspin and left spin to try to stop your ball and roll it towards the hole. Like I said, I don't believe this is going to be the route to use in the rookie, but it's definitely a shot that is there and is available if you don't like playing to that left side. I would play the elevations the same, plus 10% for the drive, and then also plus 10% for the second shot if you want to play it that way as well. Okay, so we got hole number 3, the return of Billy Goat Bluff. That's what I named it. Last time we had this hole in the summer major tournament, and this hole is just like ridiculous, crazy elevation. From some of the other tees, it's like 50%. But from the first tee, it's a little bit lower elevated from the first tee. So we're just going to play this one of the plus 30%. I don't believe it's the full 50%. Now, this hole right here, in my opinion, is a hole where I say, make sure to get that birdie. Make sure to get that birdie. If you get the ace, consider it very fortunate. You're going to be playing this shot with the wood club. And, I would say either the Viper or the Guardian club, and you're going to be using a lot of backspin and left spin. Your landing spot is going to be right down here on this fairway from this first tee. So basically what you're going to do is that left spin and that backspin is hopefully bounce your shot towards the green and maybe get a nice roll to the hole. It's very important to use backspin right here because this green does slope away from the green. It will slope you down into this fringe area. If you hit it too hard, it will take you down into the rough. And that's a difficult shot to make for a birdie. Definitely don't want to do that. There may be also possibility for a rough bump shot here with a good wind. And depending on what kind of ball you use, that shot may be available to play with a driver, like maybe a quarterback or something with a lot of accuracy, or with your wood club, depending on what ball power you use. So definitely keep that in mind. The rough bump may not be completely out of the question from this first tee. I don't really consider the rough bump a rookie type of shot, but it's definitely a shot that will be possibly available with the correct wind angle, especially if it's any kind of a wind angle that has you adjusting, down this rough line. Anything like that, is going to be a lot safer than a shot that requires you to adjust over into the rocks or out into the fairway. Just a lot of things that can go wrong there with a great left or a great ball in that type of situation. So, curl for this first shot that we were talking about right over here. If you have tailwind, you're still going to use a little bit of left curl. If you have a right to left side tailwind, you're not going to quite need as much curl because you're going to let the wind just naturally move that ball to the hole. But just use slight curl, maybe like a quarter of a bar. Now, if you have left to right tailwind or left to right side wind, you're going to have to use basically your full curl amount, whatever that may be with your club. And hopefully, you have enough curl to fight that wind back towards the hole. So that is the Billy Goat Bluff hole right there. Best of luck to you all on that. Alright, next hole we have is hole number 4. And hole number 4 is a par 3. Not bad. Hole number 4 is a par 4. There's another hole coming up later that kind of, reminds me of it's a par 3. This one is a par 4, my bad. Plus 10% will be your adjustment off the tee box. And this hole, there are several different ways you can play this hole. You can play this hole to the right-hand side, either with the extra mile or the quarterback. And basically, you're just trying to get your ball into this zone right here. This is more of the conservative way to play this hole. Plus 10%. For the second shot, you're going to play it plus 10% towards the green, most likely with a long iron club like the Backbone or the Saturn. Will definitely be a great selection for this hole. That is the conservative route. You can also possibly play a power curl shot with a really nice, like maybe right to left tailwind or a nice tailwind. In that situation, you will bend your shot around to this fairway with a lot of top spin and left spin, and try to bounce your way over the bunker and then roll your ball up the fairway towards the hole that way. Now, playing it that way, it may require to use a little bit higher level power ball. The first initial way I showed, definitely would say maybe use like a Katana or a Quasar ball, where it's not as, needed to have that extra power. But if you want to play a power curl shot, you definitely are going to want that extra power. Same way playing it to the left side. If you have some sort of a left to right tailwind, you can play some sort of a curl shot here as well, where you bounce it off this first fairway with top spin and right spin. You're going to bounce it over the water and the rough. You'll land on this fairway here, and then roll your ball out that way. Play it aggressively enough, you could possibly get it towards the green, but most likely, you're just trying to get your shot into this little area right here for either a very short iron or a wedge shot towards the hole. So that second shot there, plus 10% as well from that side as well. The most important thing that you can do on these second shots is find your club percentage. Now, if you use the ring system, you know that there is a max, a mid, and a min club percentage. Now, if your shot isn't at one of those three spots, then you kind of have to guesstimate on what your ring play is going to be in between those. So basically just do the best that you can do. Try to give yourself the best chance possible to make the correct adjustment, and you can do that by finding that max value, that min value, and then trying to guess in between where your shot is going to be. Are you going to be a mid, or maybe you're going to be in between mid and max, or maybe you're in between mid and min. Definitely very important when setting up those second shots to have that correct value, because that will change the ring play that you do use during your shots. Next up, we got hole number 5, and this is a par 3. The way to play this hole right here is going to be plus 10% off the tee box. You'll be playing with your long iron, so either going with the Backbone or a Saturn. Using a club that has curl is definitely important here. Using a ball that has spin is definitely important here. So for that reason, I definitely would skip right past the Quasar and go to the Katana or Titan ball. If the Quasar is all you have, then the Quasar is what you can use. It's better than nothing for sure. Your landing spot is going to be up here on this fairway area. You're going to be using full left spin, and depending on what kind of a wind you have, you're going to be using either a little bit of backspin or you're going to be using some topspin. So if we have some sort of a tailwind, which I assume we're going to have some sort of a tailwind, you're going to use somewhere between 0 to 0.5 to 1 bar of backspin. Basically what you want to do is use just enough spin to stop that shot on the bounce when it hits up here on the green. And with that left spin and that left curl, hopefully you can roll that shot around the green and then back down to the hole for the ace. That's why the spin becomes very important. If you have side winds or headwinds, then you got to go with a little bit of top spin just to be able to make sure you get that bounce over the bunker and that rough to land it on the green. Once you get it on the green with the correct speed, then you have a chance to get that ball into the hole for the ace. Curl amounts definitely make a difference in this hole. If you have a straight tailwind, I like about a half a ball of curl. If you have, less than tail and you have more of a left to right tail or something that's pointing to the right, then you want to use your maximum curl amount. And that's when it may become important to really look at which of your long irons you want to use for that shot. Which one of my long irons has the better curl capabilities? And that may be something that you decide once we find out what the tournament wind's going to be like. If we know the tournament wind's going to be a right to left wind, I would pick my long iron with the best accuracy, which would be the Backbone, because if with the right to left wind, curl is not going to be as much of an issue. We know the backbone is going to have enough curl to give us that half a bar of curl, so it won't be an issue. If we have some sort of a left to right tail, then we know we need curl. So we know we need to go with something other than the backbone. Either we're going with the Saturn or even the Goliath if you have that as well. So definitely very dependent on what kind of wind we have in the tournament, and that will help you decide on which club to use. And it also depends on what club you most feel comfortable with. If you feel comfortable with the backbone and you want to use the backbone, use the backbone. I always say, stay with what is comfortable to you. If it's a club that you've never used, it's probably not a good idea to just start using it in the tournament for one shot. There is also one other chance here. If you're going to use a wood like the Viper or maybe the Sniper, would be some sort of a rough bump here. That's also definitely a possibility for this hole, is the rough bump. For that, it's going to be about the same. You're going to use a little bit of spin, and you're just going to up the hill and back down in the same type of line as the other shot. But it's definitely there. Once again, check out the wind direction. It's the shot that lets you to adjust along that rough line, then you're safe. If it's something you feel comfortable with, give it a look. If not, stick to the long iron shot that we first initially talked about. Hole number 6 is next. And we got a par 5 for hole number 6. We're going plus 10% off the tee box. A lot of 10% here. It seems like here early. As far as your club goes to here, I would definitely use the extra mile and a Titan ball for this shot. We're playing it to the left side. We're playing it off this first island will be our initial skip. Now, depending on the strength of your driver, if you have a higher level extra mile or you have a lower level extra mile, what happens from here will definitely change. You'll either be going with one bounce all the way over to this next fairway and be rolling out, or with a little bit lower level extra mile, maybe you'll go with the double bounce. So you'll double bounce one here, you'll go to this next fairway towards the end, bounce there again, and then go over to the third fairway and roll out. So either go with the double bounce or the single bounce. That may depend on a few different variables. Maybe it's your club strength, it could be the ball that you use, and it also could be the wind direction that we have off the tee shot. So those are a few different things that could definitely affect the way that your first shot plays out. So for your second shot here, plus 20% here for this shot, downhill and over water, makes this one a little bit more of an elevation change. So for the second shot here, I would definitely recommend just going with the big dog here. This could be a very difficult shot to make with the Viper or the Sniper. Most likely pretty large, pretty greatly overpowered if you wanted to use either one of those clubs. And this one is guarded by the bunkers on the left and the right hand side of that fairway. So I think the safe way to play this one is absolutely with the big dog. So you're playing your second shot with the big dog to this front area right before you got to go through that bottleneck. You're using about 2-3 bars of topspin. You really want to judge out the amount of topspin you use depending on how far you are with your drive on that initial shot. So if you're a little bit closer up to the front edge of that third fairway, in this area right here, then maybe you're going to use a little bit less topspin. If you're farther back in this third fairway, then you may need to use more topspin than you would if you were closer up. The main thing I would suggest is to concentrate on getting your shot to or around the green for an easy putt in or chip in for the eagle. The green does have a pretty severe left to right slope on it, so if you get your shot onto the green, rolling on the green, you got a good chance of rolling down more towards the hill, towards the hole. But I would definitely concentrate on just trying to get yourself into position for the eagle here. Don't try to get cute. Don't try to make that super shot and end up in the rough or the bunker and find yourself with a birdie on this hole. That would definitely not be good for your round. As far as any other ways to play this hole, I think the left side is generally going to be the one way to play it in the rookie. To the right hand side, you'll see maybe some people try to play this shot to the right hand side. I just don't see you being able to get yourself far enough down the fairway to get yourself in contention for a second shot, you really want to be farther up this fairway in this area and not back in this area. So, you know, from that back zone, you're really just going to have a lot of difficulties trying to get yourself in any type of position to give yourself a chance at that eagle. And it's going to be like a short iron eagle chip. So, I mean, if I had to pick a putt or a wedge for an eagle or a short iron for an eagle, it's putt wedge all day long. So go to the left side. Hole 7 here is a par 3. This is the par 3 I was thinking about a little while earlier. This one right here, we're going to be playing with plus 15% for the downhill shot and adjustment. So add a 15% onto your wind. As an example again, let's just say we're playing a 15% of 5 miles per hour. So that would be, instead of a 0.5 adjustment, that would be 0.75 adjustment. So we would play it as 5.75 miles per hour. That would be your 15% adjustment. So for this shot right here, Viper, Sniper, Guardian. Those are 3 clubs that I would definitely recommend for this one. You want a ball with some side spin on it. So if you want to go cheap, go Quasar. If you have a Katana ball, in my opinion, a Katana ball is going to be your best play. You're going to be landing your shot there on that second fairway area connected to the green. It's important to try to find a landing spot that is consistent and flat. As you can see, the farther left you go from that area that I pointed out, it gets a little bit more hilly. There's a little bit more slope to it, and slope equals inconsistent bounce. So find the flat spot, find the consistent bounce. You're going to be using some backspin and some right spin. I would say anywhere from 3 to 4 bars of backspin, max right spin for this shot, coming in from the first tee box. That hopefully will get your bounce up here around the green, and then hopefully get yourself, you know, some sort of a roll pattern towards the hole. Yeah, depending on what kind of a wind you have, you may want to couple the shot with some right curl to kind of just help guide that shot a little bit more in a path toward the hole. This is going to be a tough hole to get an ace on. I don't expect to see a lot of people getting aces on, but if you can kind of dial in your shot, you know, maybe you can play it one way and say, oh, if I had a little bit more curl, maybe I can make that shot. And that's really what this game's about, trying to figure out ways to improve your shots and get the drops. If you can find the drops in the tournaments, that's when you start winning the banners. You know, there's definitely a possibility of some sort of a rough bump right here. You know, I think that's going to be a little bit more on the upper end of a rookie play. But, you know, you never know. Someone may have a little bit higher level clubs, and that may be a shot that is possible for them. So definitely, you know, we can't discount that shot either. All right, moving on to hole number 8. We got a par 4 here. This is kind of an interesting par 4. Especially the way you play your second shot could definitely reward you or get you into a ton of trouble. So plus 10% for the tee shot. As far as your ball goes here, you know, I like at least a Quasar ball. I'm not someone that skimps on balls when it comes into a tournament. I think when you get into a tournament, that's when you got to start using the balls that you paid the money for. I mean, you want to win those gold banners, then you gotta pony up the dough. So I like at least a Quasar ball. If you want to go with a Katana ball, use a Katana ball, you know, here as well. But I like at least a Quasar. You're trying to take your drive up the fairway with top spin over this water, and you either want to go to this area over here or this area over here. Those are your two options, and I'll explain why I actually give two areas, landing zones for this hole. I know a lot of people will just show your shot to the right-hand side of that fairway, but I have a little bit of a shot to the left-hand side as well that I want you to kind of look at, and it's something you can think about. If you don't like it, then you just play it the other way and no harm's done. So, you know, at least 4 bars of topspin for that drive for sure, and then you're going to either use right spin or left spin to get your shot to one of those two areas. So for your second shot, you have, you know, some options. Playing it from the right-hand side, you know, we're going to play the second shot with 0% no matter what we do here. You have the option of playing for the rough bump here, which you want to land your shot close to the edge of that rough line with topspin, probably at least 3 to 4 bars of topspin. The ball will come in shorter than it looks like, so try to aim that ball a little bit through the hole if possible. And you may not have the topspin to do that. That's okay. That will put you in a good position though for the birdie for sure. You can try a backspin shot off the fringe. It will show a very high arcing bounce towards the hole. And for that shot right there, you actually want to overplay that shot a little bit. So like you want that next bounce to actually show being a little bit past the hole, because that arc is actually going to, you know, it's not going to go as far as it shows. And if you would just play a shot directly at the hole, more than likely your ball is going to be short of the hole on that next bounce. So overplay that bounce a little bit if you want to play it that way. The shot to the left-hand side that I'm very curious about is, you know, would be a shot with like your Saturn, your long iron that has the absolute most backspin. And this is a shot that I like with the Katana ball, because I actually like this shot with the right spin as well. So from this left side, you're going to be bringing your shot in to the green, and then using like full right spin and full backspin to possibly have enough to stop the ball and get that nice roll out to the hole. It's not something that I'm 100% sure will work great, but it's something worth thinking about and looking at, and that may depend on what kind of a wind we have as well for that second shot. If you have some sort of a left to right kind of a side wind for that second shot, then that may be a great way to play it from that left side. Otherwise, stick to the right side, go for the rough bump, or go for the shot off the little fringe area. There is also possibly another shot you can play with like the big topper here on this hole. You know, I don't think this will be a shot that a lot of people can play, and this definitely could be wind dependent. But the way you'd play it with the big topper is you would try to land your shot right here on the edge of this fairway. Full topspin, you're really just trying to hit and roll through all the way to this area right here on this little third fairway. From there, you would have a short iron, like a thorn backspin shot to the hole. You know, it's definitely a possibility, and it's there if you have the correct wind and you have the correct club to use as well. So that was hole number 8. Moving on to hole number 9, our last and final hole. And we end with a par 5. This hole right here could definitely be tricky depending on what kind of a wind we have and the way we play it. We're going to first talk about playing this shot to the left-hand side. And the first thing you're going to notice when you get this hole is it is very high up to that left-hand side. So we're playing a shot up the hill, which means subtracting elevation from the shot. So we will play this shot with minus 20%. So you subtract 20% off your wind and adjust for the shot. You're playing with a driver. You could use a big topper. You can use an extra mile. You're going to use top spin. I would not recommend overpowering this shot. You're going to land it here, and you know, hopefully roll this fairway and then roll back down a little bit to somewhere in this zone right here. It is very arcing type of fairway. It slopes from left to right. If you use too much topspin and too much overpower, your ball can roll into this rough. Definitely not a place that you want to be. So definitely try to hug that right side, mid to the right side of that fairway as best as possible to try to rest your shot more into that right edge, that right little area of the fairway up there to the right side of those rocks. From there, you're going to be taking a shot very steeply downhill. So for your second shot, you're going to be playing actually plus 40%. Yes, plus 40% for the downhill shot. And you're going to want to have the big dog for this shot for sure. You're playing your shot to in between the rough and this bunker. You're going to be playing with top spin for sure. I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 4 bars of top spin, bouncing over that bunker and that rough to land in this area of the fairway, and then hopefully roll towards the hole for setting yourself up for a possible eagle. So minus 20% on the drive, plus 40% on the second shot to the left-hand side. Make sure to use topspin on that first drive. Do not overpower, but not too much topspin. Stay along the right-hand side of that fairway to avoid going into that little rough area in the middle of the fairway. Definitely don't want to do that. Now, if we have some sort of a right to left wind, which I hope we get because that would make this hole a lot easier, and safer to play, in my opinion, and also open up a chance at a small albatross chance. We need a right to left tailwind for the shot. For the right side, we play plus 10%, and you'll be playing with some sort of a driver with top spin and left spin. You'll be bouncing off this edge of the fairway. You'll use full top spin, full left spin, and full curl to try to get over this rough and bunker, and hopefully try to get some sort of a rollout here onto this this fairway. Most likely, a lot of people will try to play that shot and will hit the rough and just roll it out a little bit, but that still should be okay for that shot. For your second shot, we will play a plus 10% as well from the right-hand side for your second shot. Now, you'll have two options. Option number one, if you get your ball far enough up that fairway, you can play more of a shot, over this bunker and go for the hole. If you don't get far up that fairway, then you're probably going to have to play your shot, to a similar position, but you're most likely going to be looking at more of an overpower shot, where you're going to come in with some backspin and just trying to get up there around the hole for the eagle. So, if you don't get that drive down where you are getting far up that fairway, I would say kind of like forget trying for the albatross and just trying to put yourself in position for the eagle. Anywhere around that green, fairway-wise, is a pretty nice little chip to the hole and should be pretty makeable. So definitely play that one safe. Make sure of getting the eagle here in the rookie. The higher you go division-wise, it may be a little bit more easier to have a chance for that albatross. But in the rookie, I would definitely recommend making sure that you get yourself in position for the eagle and just playing it that way. So that was the rookie playthrough, or the rookie guide, pre-tournament guide for the upcoming tournament. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I do playthroughs for the tournament starting on Monday. Usually do my rookie playthrough on Monday. I do a pro playthrough on either Monday night or Tuesday. And then I also do stream expert content throughout the week. So definitely look forward to hopefully seeing you all in those streams or watching those videos as well. Will do a pro and expert guide similar to this coming out probably in the next day or so. And if you are in any of those divisions, I would definitely recommend checking that out. It's going to be the same format. I'll talk through the holes, give you some information and tips on the different way to play these holes that can hopefully get you all kind of thinking in the right direction for this tournament. And yeah, definitely enjoyed having you all here today, and hopefully you all learned a thing or two. This has been Jesse Both from the 19th hole. Hopefully you all have a good day, and God bless. Please check out my friend Gio Viviani at his Golf Clash channel, Golf Clash Italy. All you got to do is go on YouTube, type in Golf Clash Italy, and you can find his channel there. It's Gio and many of his friends that will be broadcasting from this same channel. They do lots of different divisions and have lots of cool content. Gio is doing his own interpretation of the Road to Glory type of stories, so definitely check him out. Golf Clash Italy, Gio Viviani. You can also find him on Facebook at the name seen below in the picture.